Today, we're starting somewhere pretty incredible, actually. The Petrovaradin Fortress in Serbia.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about it.
Just try to picture this. It's this absolutely huge structure. It took like 88 years to build. It covers 112 hectares.
Wow, 88 years. That's commitment.
Right. And it's apparently the second biggest fortress in Europe. It's got these crazy tunnels, 16 kilometers of them, catacombs too, all built for defense.
16 kilometers underground.
For centuries, people thought it was just completely impregnable, you know? Strong, stable, that sheer strength.
That's quite an image. Solid stone, built to last.
Exactly. And, well, that got me thinking, what if we could sort of apply that thinking, that dedication to being strong, to our own minds?
I see where you're going.
Could we build ourselves, mentally to be that resilient, that stable, like those old walls?
That's a fascinating analogy, actually, tying that physical, enduring strength to mental resilience. It gives us a really concrete way to think about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And our guide for this deep dive, well, it fits perfectly. It's a YouTube video transcript, and it lays out 15 characteristics of people who really embody that kind of mental stability and strength.
15 characteristics. Okay.
So our mission today is to really dig into those insights, not just list them off,
Right.
but understand how we can apply them, how you can apply them to build up our own sort of personal mental fortresses.
Okay, I like that. Let's unpack this then. This journey to building your own mental stronghold. We're going to look at principles that might genuinely challenge, how you see things, setbacks, taking ownership, stuff like that.
It gets quite deep.
Yeah, get ready for some real aha moments, I think, because this seems to go way beyond just like surface level advice.
Definitely. So where do we start? The first stone.
Right, laying the first stone. The source kicks off by saying mentally strong people just don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Self-pity.
That one hits hard right away.
Yeah, and it's not just about like avoiding a bad mood. It frames self-pity as really disempowering. You're focusing inward on the problem itself, not outward towards a solution.
Right. It basically shuts down your problem-solving ability.
Exactly. You shift from being someone who acts, an agent, to just a victim of whatever's happening.
So how do people with that fortitude, that strength, how do they actively reframe that initial urge to just lament? How do they turn it into action?
That's the key question, isn't it? Because that urge is strong sometimes.
It really is. And building on that idea of moving forward, the next principle is about embracing change.
Change. Always a comfortable topic.
Yeah, right. But truly resilient people, they're not just unafraid of change or challenges. Often they actually welcome them.
Welcome them. Okay.
The source makes this point. If life is always the same, always static, what's the value in living it? Change, for these people, it isn't some threat.
Opportunity.
Exactly. It's the very thing that brings new experiences, improves life's quality. It challenges us to see change not as this big obstacle, but as an opportunity to grow.
That is a challenging perspective. Powerful, but challenging. Because let's be honest, change can feel terrifying for a lot of us.
Oh, absolutely.
So are there times when even someone mentally strong struggles with change? And what do they do then? Because actively welcoming something that feels like it's pulling the rug out from under you, that's not always easy.
No, it's definitely not intuitive sometimes. The initial impulse might well be resistance. We all feel that. But the key, according to this source, is how they process it, how they think about it.
Right.
And that brings us nicely to the next point. People with mental stability don't waste energy fixating on things they can't control.
The control thing, that's huge.
It is. It ties directly into what psychologists call your locus of control. Mentally strong people tend to have a more internal locus. They get that their power is in their reactions, their choices.
Not in trying to bend the world to their will.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's this fundamental shift, really, from worry, which achieves nothing, to agency focusing on what you can actually do. If it doesn't depend on you, it's just not worth that mental energy, that overthinking.
That shift from worry to agency.
Yeah, that feels foundational.
Yeah.
And it connects to another wall in our fortress, doesn't it? This idea that you don't need to please everyone.
Oh, definitely. That's a big one.
It's impossible anyway, right? Trying to please absolutely everyone. And the source is pretty blunt. It says it's just not important.
Right.
Your actions should be for you, lined up with your values, not just trying to get everyone else's nod of approval.
It's not about being, selfish or inconsiderate.
No, no.
It's just about recognizing where your energy, your focus is best spent. It's
Yeah.
about understanding your self-worth comes from within. It's not handed out by others.
Yeah, that makes sense. So self-pity is out, fear of change is reframed, lack of control is accepted.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, speaking of not fearing things, the next cornerstone is about risk. Mentally strong individuals aren't afraid to take calculated risks. Calculated. That's the important word there, I guess.
Absolutely crucial. Look, the world isn't always predictable. Risks are just part of life. But this isn't about being reckless, just jumping into things blindly.
Right.
It's about foresight. It's about thinking ahead, understanding the potential downsides, trying to mitigate those risks if you can,
Yeah.
and maybe learning from small experiments first.
Like the difference between jumping off a cliff, hoping for the best, and maybe building a little prototype glider first.
Exactly like that. A life with zero risk, the source suggests, can end up being pretty empty. Nothing really happens. You don't grow.
Okay, so calculated risks are in.
Yeah.
What are we letting go of next to build this inner strength?
Something pretty common. Dwelling on the past.
Ah, the past. Yeah, easy to get stuck there.
Very easy. But what happened, happened. You can't rewind. You can't change it. The advice here is direct.
Mm-hmm.
Live now in the present and plan for the future. Always be working towards a goal you've actually set for yourself.
So learn from the past, but don't live there.
Precisely. Don't let it be an anchor holding you back.
And that learning part is key, right? Because the next point is that mentally strong people don't make the same mistakes over and over.
Exactly. They actively learn from when things go wrong, from their own missteps.
It's not about just doing what felt easier or familiar the first time.
No. You have to be willing to change your approach, your attitudes, your methods, maybe even your whole way of thinking, if it's clearly not working for you.
It really speaks to having a growth mindset, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Believing you can adapt and improve.
Absolutely. It's about being adaptable, intelligent in how you respond. And here's an interesting one, maybe less obvious, that ties into this adaptability.
Okay.
Resilient people don't resent other people's successes.
Ooh, okay. That's tricky. Envy is pretty human.
It is. But the message here isn't, see someone succeed and try to pull them down because it makes you feel inadequate.
Right. Which happens.
It does. But the mentally strong approach is to flip that. Shift the perspective. If someone's succeeded, great. Communicate with them, maybe learn from them. See how you can try to achieve similar things yourself. It's about drawing inspiration, not getting bogged down in envy.
That idea, not resenting success, yeah, that really does flip the script on how we often think, especially in competitive fields. But how do you actually train yourself out of that? That initial, almost knee-jerk feeling of, ugh, why them and not me?
That's the hard part. It often starts with just consciously noticing it and then actively reframing the thought, telling yourself a different story about what their success means for you.
Okay, conscious reframing.
And closely related to that, the ninth characteristic is not giving up after the first failure, or the second, or the third.
Persistence, pure resilience.
Pure resilience, whatever you're chasing, work goal, personal thing. Socially, if you stumble, you just get back up, try again, and again if needed.
It sounds simple, but it's hard in practice.
It is. But the source puts it starkly. Only the weak stay down. Strong, mentally stable people simply get up and start over, as many times as it takes to get the result they're after.
That's a core building block of the fortress, for sure. Okay, so we've talked a lot about external interactions and reactions. What about the internal space, inside the fortress walls?
Good question. That leads us to point 10. Mental stability means not fearing solitude, being alone.
Ah, solitude. Some people love it, some dread it.
Right. But the point here is, when you are alone, don't be afraid to just be with yourself. It's not about being bored.
There's always something to do, right?
Exactly. Read a book, learn something new online, watch an interesting video. But more than that, the source really emphasizes solitude as this perfect moment for self-reflection.
Thinking about yourself, your life.
Yeah. And for truly imagining. The source argues that imagination is what really fuels your goals. You create your own goals, often in those quiet moments alone, and figure out ways to reach them.
It's interesting how solitude, which can seem passive, is actually framed as this active, creative space.
It really is. And that sense of inner drive, knowing yourself, it connects directly to the next principle.
Right.
Because when you know yourself, you also get that no one else is just going to hand you your goals on a plate.
Right.
The 11th characteristic, don't think the world owes you anything.
Oof. No entitlement.
None. You don't get things just by existing, right?
Huh.
You have to work for them.
Yeah.
The source is pretty blunt.
Right.
People who expect things just because they were born are acting, well, childishly, like expecting parents to provide everything.
That's not how the real world operates.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And it certainly doesn't build mental strength.
So it's about ownership, responsibility, not entitlement. Okay. And speaking of working for it, number 12 is about patience, right?
Yeah.
Not expecting instant results.
Yes, huge one. There are very few genuinely instant results in life. Maybe winning the lottery, pure luck.
Right, not a reliable strategy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
If you expect things to happen immediately, and they don't, which they usually won't, you'll likely end up frustrated, maybe blaming everyone else.
Yeah, I can see that.
Results aren't just given out. You have to pursue them, work hard, sometimes really push yourself. That effort, that's always the price you pay.
The cold, hard truth of most achievements, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And to make sure that hard work is actually going somewhere meaningful, the 13th point ties into those results.
Yeah.
You need to create your own definition of success.
Ah, okay. Not just chasing what society says is success.
Exactly. Success looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
For one person, it might be financial independence. For someone else, maybe it's having really strong family connections or mastering a craft.
Could be anything, really.
Doesn't matter what it is. You need to define what success means for you and then work towards that specific vision day by day.
That really broadens the playing field, doesn't it? It means you're not competing against everyone else's definition. You're running your own race.
Your own race, perfectly put.
And to succeed in that unique race, number 14 feels essential. You have to believe in yourself.
Absolutely fundamental. You simply must believe you could do it. You can't doubt your own capabilities constantly.
That negative self-talk is destructive.
Totally. The source says, if you're always telling yourself, I can't, well, you're not mentally strong. You have to switch that script. I can do it. And really, truly believe it deep down. It's about cultivating that self-efficacy.
Your inner dialogue really shapes your reality then.
Immensely. And that brings us to the final piece, the capstone of our mental fortress, number 15.
Okay, the final characteristic.
Mentally strong people simply take responsibility for their own lives. Full stop.
Ultimate ownership.
Yes. You are responsible for what happens to you. No one else is. There isn't someone else who's going to step in and do the work for you or take the blame if things go wrong. Your parents aren't always responsible. It's about complete, unyielding accountability for your path, your choices.
That's the ultimate act of agency, isn't it? Saying, this is my life, I'm in the driver's seat.
That's it, exactly. So if we sort of pull all these threads together now, connect these insights back to the big picture. Building mental strengths, like building that incredible Petrovaridan fortress we started with, it's not something you just arrive at. It's not passive.
It's an active construction project, ongoing.
Right. It's an active, ongoing construction.
Yeah.
And this deep dive, well, we've explored how to actively engage in building that foundation. A strong personal foundation that can genuinely hold up under life's challenges, because challenges will come.
Absolutely. Just like that fortress was built on solid ground, designed to last centuries, our mental fortitude, our resilience can be developed the same way, using these principles. Consciously.
Yeah.
Deliberately. You know, one characteristic, one stone at a time. So what does this all mean for you listening? It really means you have the power, the blueprints maybe, to build a truly unshakable foundation for your own life. Something capable of weathering whatever storms come your way.
And maybe that leaves us with an important question to consider. If your mental strength is like a fortress, what part of its architecture are you going to focus on? Is it the walls? The foundations, maybe those strategic defenses against external pressures like negativity or other people's expectations? What part will you consciously choose to strengthen and maintain in the days ahead?